So I'd love to hear why you're here, what you're getting out of this.
Yeah, so I was just talking to Amy, and I had mentioned that one of the things that's been so impressive to me about this conference is the fact that it's designed in such an expert way that it's not just about inspiring people to think big, but it's also about designing a professional learning experience for teachers that is about process. And so for me, I've never participated in an experience like this where we're, thinking about all the different opportunities that exist out there, coming up with a solution, thinking about a prototype, and then scaling it up. But also, doing the improv activities to get people to really let go of their inhibitions. Then setting up these rapid fire presentations that so clearly are designed around a certain kind of theme, like identifying opportunities or thinking about prototypes, in a way that guides participants' learning along in their own generative process or creative process in their action collabs. And so I think what's been so interesting to me about it is, aside from the content and thinking about the big ideas, thinking about how do you design professional development in a way that leads a diverse group of learners to that end goal that you have. And so for me, I was saying to her that I feel like I'm thinking about this conference at two levels. One, as a learner myself, and then two, on a metacognitive level, thinking about how do you address the needs of learners, and the fact that you have teachers and policymakers and technologists and business people all in the same room. How do you guide them in that process together to get them to that end goal that you have? It's been a fascinating experience. So.
You sound surprised.
I think I have been to so many conferences for teachers. I haven't been to one of these sort of mixed participant conferences, but being to conferences for teachers that follows a really similar model, sort of breakout workshops, you listen. As much as it's meant to be hands-on, it ends up being much more of a receptive process. You sort of hear people talk at you, and then maybe you take something away. I knew this was going to be a creative, generative process, but at the same time, I don't think I quite expected the design of the conference from beginning to end to be so intentional. And I think that's what has been, I guess, pleasantly surprising, but to think that there can be another model for professional development in the conference setting that I just haven't seen before. I mean, designing professional development is something that I do for a living, so it's interesting to me. But thinking about conferences, I feel like there's been such a typical model for conferences that has gotten stale over time. That you guys have not only busted open the doors in terms of thinking about big ideas for education, but thinking about what are the possibilities for professional development conference settings, and how can that really be an inspirational setting? Everything from having it be with these crashing waves outside the front door and being in a more isolated area where you can really sort of be inspired by your surroundings, to the musical performances and thinking about deconstructing a piano, and what does that mean for deconstructing education ideas, and what does it mean to take things apart and think about things in a new way. I mean, every piece of the conference has been so intentional, at least I think, it feels that way, and so artfully done that I have just been really impressed from start to finish. It's been really fun. And it's not finished yet.
I know. Thanks, Julia. That's great. Your inspiration inspires me.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thanks.
Well, spread the word to all of your colleagues. It's been really fun.
All right.
So.